I'm Dan, a game dev with nearly a decade of experience. On my journey, I've met some really cool developers, and I've asked them to take us on a tour of games they've worked on, learning, sharing stories, and showing off some Easter eggs. So, let's begin the tour. Hey everyone, today we're taking a look at Chivalry 2, and we have a very special guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm James Arkwright. I'm currently lead environment artist at Compulsion Games. And then for Chivalry 2, this is a couple years ago, but I was lead environment artist at Torn Banner Studios when we were releasing Chivalry 2.
And here we are on Chivalry 2. And this is one of your maps. So you were responsible for what on this level?
Um, Generally, general set dressing, the crowd, the background, texture stuff, pretty much everything. It was a very small team of like 4 or 5 artists for the whole production. So pretty much everybody did everything to like various degrees. It was very like generalized of what people did. So like some props, the tents in the background, stuff like that.
Okay, so it was kind of like you would, because it's such a small team, I guess you got to focus on things you like were passionate about and that you enjoyed, right? So it'd be like, oh, if I really like texturing, like go ahead and texture, like there's plenty of it to do, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And there wasn't like a lighting artist. It's like someone just light the thing and we'll see how it goes, basically. Someone make the stands and we'll see how it goes. So it was pretty loose being a small team, but it was also a lot of fun because you can kind of just like you can like find something cool to work on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's so cool. And I love the like the storytelling with the environment as well. Like the different kind of something we talk about a lot is like the little narratives that you can like sew in, like like this note being like stabbed down, and you can even pick up the dagger right if you've been disarmed and things like that. And
Right. I think the little flags behind you, if you turn around, there's like red and blue flags, and there's like the red team is like already has like 3 points, for
oh
example.
yeah,
So yeah, so little stuff like that are everywhere, and you can like pick up the flags and like throw them. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of like little Easter eggs and stuff.
that's so cool. I don't know how to throw it actually. How do you throw it?
Gee, I don't know. It's been a long time. It's
Oh
been
yeah,
years.
actually,
Sick.
nice. There you go. You remembered. And you got a throne here. I love this throne. It's
You got a
like
throne to sit on. You can just watch and get
yeah, and
attacked.
yeah, everyone's gonna try and like kill you, right? So you gotta get your boys around to like keep you safe. So
Yeah, it's such like a like memeable game. So if you sit there, you're gonna get like your head chopped off.
yeah,
So
for
it's
sure.
the whole game's about like there's like a comedy aspect to it and like having fun. So it's very like not serious as well.
Yeah, I remembered I was playing this game recently with my boss, and over we were like stood on here trying to just hold this down. Like this kind of
Oh yeah,
like top section here, because we were just sat on this bench watching them together, and then like they realized that we were up here and all started ganging up on us and trying to kill us. It was really fun.
you gotta throw like loaves of bread at them and stuff.
Yeah. So um there's one thing that I really like about game environments is like when they feel alive, right? And I really like these things, these like interactable elements. Like how
Oh yes.
how do they come about? How do they get planned? Like who does them? Like what what makes them happen?
Um, yeah, it was largely like game and level design planned out a lot of the maps. Like they were the first ones to like be in the map and do the block out and come up with what's going to be interactable. And then
Yeah.
a lot of these things get reused across the game because it was a small team. So like look, the jousting thing that you hit here gets turned into a couple other things that spin around, and like there's the like breakable crates and stuff you can pick up, and that big rock pile you can pick up, and things like that. So those are kind of like universally throughout the game. Um, and we kind of just developed a big library. Like in the beginning, you kind of only have like a couple things per map, and then by the time we were done, we had like hundreds of these little interactable things you
Interactables.
could put in everywhere.
Yeah, like these kind of little shields and stuff like this as well.
Yeah, like there's tons of weapons and like like cheese and rocks, and there's just like
Cheese
everything you
and
can pick up.
rocks.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I love that like the context as well, right? You can see how the horses would get in and things like that, right? I think it's
Yeah, and there's like the red team is the Masons. So they have like their whole decorated entrance here. And it's like red and black is their colors, and they're very kind of like serious and like not evil, but they're not like morally just all the time, and then the blue team is Agathians. I think I did this entrance, if I remember correctly, like all the moss and stuff. And they're like way more like, prestigious knights, you could say. They're way more like
All right. So they've all
uh
got like ivy growing over their like tail.
yeah, they're all about like how it looks and stuff. So there's like kind of two distinct teams and sides, but it's really also like red versus blue at the end of the day, and that's like a really easy way to distinguish like players and who's a teammate and who isn't a teammate.
Yeah, I guess it's not just about the red versus blue. It's like giving it that secondary layer which grounds it in it not just being like a reskin of colors. It's like if you look at like game like older games, maybe it was okay to just reskin or retint to red or blue, but in like the games we have today, players expect a little bit more world building around those decisions, right?
Yeah, and this is supposed to be like a neutral area where they meet to kind of like do these jousts and stuff. A lot of the maps get way more thematically one way or the other. So like an Agathian castle is like super opulent and really nice and like well maintained, and a Mason castle is like almost brutalist, like really simple and crude and like kind of like run down and messed up sometimes. So this is actually probably the most like neutral of the maps, or like one of the most neutral, and it does get a lot more like diverse, I guess.
But I guess that's by design, right? This is like
Yeah, yeah, and it's also like very functional. Like the look of the game is, we're trying to keep it clear for players to know which side is which, and it just helps when it's very bright red and very bright blue.
yeah, it's stunning, man. It looks really cool. Like even the terrain, like the blending of it to it feels like it's been ran across. It feels like it's been used a lot and it's been like repaired for this kind of event that we're here for, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like the context for everything. It's really cool. And I like how it's not just completely outside either, right? Like we have like this little inside bit as well, like a good opportunity to flank maybe. If you
Yeah,
can,
there's the dummy with the bucket on his head to your left. All the way, that guy. Yeah. Um, Yeah, there's like it was pretty. It's mostly exterior game. There are some interiors, but it is like you said, like for flanking, it's largely like a level design thing, and not necessarily an art requirement to have interiors.
yeah,
It's actually kind of difficult getting like lighting nice in both of them, with a small
yeah.
team as well, like no lighting artist. But yeah, it is cool. We tried to add like a lot of little pockets and stuff like that.
Is the lighting baked or is it dynamic?
Yes, we started the project with it dynamic, and then it was like way too costly for 64 players online, and there's no real good reason to not have it baked. There's no like time of day, there's no weather, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So it's all baked, and then a lot of light map pain.
yeah. Of course, every time you you can. Trust me, I've been there. I know the feeling. But I guess one of the we were talking about this in The Last of Us 2 actually, and this could be a good example to show it. But usually, dynamic objects like this crossbow, for example, won't have baked light underneath it um, because it's a dynamic object. So it would just leave like a shadow imprint here. And it's something for gamers to keep in mind, I guess, that like you can tell if a game's baked or not because like the movable objects in a scene will not have like subtle shadows that others might. I think I'm right there. I hope I'm right.
Yeah, 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 and you can also tell on that like that blue shield back there, like the reflection is obviously like too bright for the environment. It's not a baked reflection. It's just like gathering, whatever like volumetric sample is around.
Yeah, like
Um,
the chain as well,
versus
right?
Yeah, and like some of the other stuff will be like a lot more integrated if it's not baked. Like the candles on the wall and stuff like that. So yeah, you can like tell sometimes what is not baked, and but that's also kind of intentional, so that you grab props that you're supposed to grab, and you don't
Yeah, it calls
grab
them out.
like not usable props.
Yeah, yeah, of course. It's cool. It was more of a just a interesting link. I think it's one of the goals of this series is to teach normal gamers that all games are like approached in very similar ways, right? we're making comparisons to the way that the lighting is done here to how we did in The Last of Us Part 2, and we did the same thing for Dead Island 2 as well. So yeah, it's really cool to like showcase some of those similarities that the tech brings.
Yeah, it's often like there's only like a couple solutions for these things generally, depending on the engine. Um, uh, but yeah, it's all baked here. I'm glad we did too. It's like very difficult to get performance good if you also have to calculate lighting as well. And the baked result is really nice too.
Yeah, it's
Like
beautiful.
it generally gives like a really good result after enough fighting with it.
And then obviously, like if you start running into performance hits, then stuff like the dynamic objects that we were messing around with in the scene, they're some of the first things to get removed, right? And when
Yeah,
the world
yes.
loses some of its personality.
Yes, like the it's all very much in favor of the gameplay and trying to keep it smooth for people who are fighting because like you don't want like frame drops during a sword fight or you'll die. Um, so yeah, a lot of it is in the whole game direction is really based around trying to get the combat like as nice as possible. So like level design and the art supports that and everything kind of supports that, which I think is a really good direction too because it ends up being a lot of fun and people remember it for how fun it is.
Yeah, yeah, and God, is it fun. Um, we'll probably see some of that a bit later on when I get my ass hand. Oh no,
Oh no,
was it.
someone joined
Oh no,
and they have
as
an
if
axe.
I was gonna die.
They have a hammer.
Let's see. This guy has no idea I've got like the creator of the map on call with me right now, like watching me. I got
There we go. The crowd was a cool thing just to note. It was all done via like VAT, so vertex animation textures. So we took crowd animations that the animators did, and then you take like a really simple model of a person, and then you basically are baking that animation out into a texture, and it's looked up in a shader, and it basically animates them via world position offset. So they're not all skeletal meshes. It's just like a really simple static mesh with like this crowd cheering animation. That was a thing I did in Houdini. It was actually a lot of fun. That was a really cool thing we did. And I think it worked its way into a couple other maps in different ways, like animals or like there's crowds in other maps too.
here we are.
Here we are. I made this part of the map long ago. This big, like, kind of open. It's got very sparsely populated forest. It's like the first part of the map. Basically, you are a mason and you have a bunch of prisoners in cages, and you're trying to prevent them from being freed while the blue guys are attacking you. It's like a lot of mega scans actually. This because mega scans only came out like a couple years before this, basically properly, and we really leaned heavily into doing it. So a lot of the assets, except for like the foliage and stuff, is largely mega scans, and even like I think the grass and stuff is probably mega scans too.
So the terrain textures is mega scans, or
I think so. I think like 90% of them are mega scans, or we like customize them a bit in Mixer because Quixel Mixer was actually like pretty good at the time before they like killed it. Um, but we didn't hand author a lot of textures, especially terrain textures at all.
it's really nice actually. I like the density feels really nice as you mentioned. It's like it feels like a forest, but it doesn't like obstruct your view of the battlefield either, right? Which is obviously really important.
Yeah, it's like the trees are spaced pretty good for combat too. If you turn around and look out to the sea, there's like, or out to the bay or whatever, there's these little islands with trees. And like that was a very purposeful thing and more to the left as well, and like yeah, there's a little castle on the island and these little like islands with trees and stuff, and that was a big part of the direction. Is there in Canada there's like an area called the Muskokas, which is basically like a million of these tiny little islands in freshwater with a couple trees on them each. So it's kind of inspired by that, where like there's just like these clusters of islands in this region, but it's also super foggy, which is on purpose as well, so you can't really see super far to help with draw distance and stuff like that.
I wonder how far you can like step out. Could I even jump into the water? I'm not
You'll
going to.
probably just die.
Yeah,
I would think so.
get weighed down by all my armor and drown.
Sure. Like
I'm
60 pounds armor or something.
I'm deliberately not helping my team because I realized it's in our best interest to progress the map further forward.
Yeah, this is true. There you go. Nice. They did it.
I'm on your team. Don't worry about it. Ah, you know what? Oh, shit.
Head right off.
There you go. Let's go to the gates. Apparently I'm deserting. Nah, I'm here. So I'm assuming you made this section as well?
Yeah, everything up until you get into like this town. So this whole like kind of like lumber yard type of area was stuff I worked on as well, and like the stone walls and stuff. It was really like level art heavy. So again, I think the logs or megascans are like largely derived from that. And it was largely just us like populating it and trying to make it smooth for gameplay and optimized and stuff like that. But I think it's just like a big like one big mesh of logs. Oh yeah, the water wheel.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think that was made by Paul Karstens, who's like a really exceptionally good artist. I think it probably has physics too, so you can probably like jump on it and like ride it, and then eventually die in the water.
Let's do it. Oh, yeah?
Hell yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, classic. And there's these two bridges that lead into like the objective, which you just lost because they got through the gates. But the a lot of the times the design goal was basically to funnel people into like bridge type areas or like narrow areas. So there's like a big open space, and then the objective is like pretty narrow to make it like manageable to defend because it's generally like pretty difficult to defend stuff.
Yeah, like this kind of choke point here.
Yeah, there's a lot of like choke points. There's a lot of like funneling of people very deliberately. A lot of getting messed up by bots. Oh, nice. There we go.
Were they bots or people?
I think they were bots. They just have
Okay.
first names only.
Oh, okay.
You should still be proud.
You didn't need to tell me that though. Anyway, so did you not? Who did work on this this kind of area here where we are now?
I think this was like 99% Paul Karstens, who's a really good general artist as well. I think he's a principal artist at Torn Banner still. Super incredible artist in person. Can't say enough good things about him. He's amazing. And there's this little like torture area down there where they would like hang prisoners and kill them and stuff. And then the whole village area, he made all these little houses. A lot of like little details and like silhouette subtleties and stuff like that. He was really good at.
Yeah.
So he did like a lot of architectural stuff, and he did a really good job. The castle back there, I think, was by Pat Dunnell, who's like another principal and really, really good artist. Looks really nice from here. It looks really nice everywhere, but the silhouette holds up really cool here.
Yeah, like I love these little like details, like the boat that we were looking at earlier.
Yeah,
Back in.
and that's the final objective too. So from here, you can actually see like the castle's the next objective, taking that, and then eventually escaping to the boat is the final objective.
It's like a circle, isn't it? That
yeah, like a big horseshoe, basically.
That's really cool. I love the Were these like ropes? Were they done? Excuse me.
We're looking at stuff.
Yeah, were these ropes done in the engine, or were they like? Did you make like a bunch of like prefabs?
Yeah, just like prefab, so it would have just been like splines in Maya or Max, and then saved out. It's very, besides the dynamic stuff, very little else is dynamic at runtime.
I guess the performance more than anything else.
Yeah, like it's actually like quite rigid, but we've added so many like little dynamic things to pick up and mess with that it kind of feels more dynamic.
Yeah. I think the like, how did you find working with Unreal Engine 4 for this project?
It's cool. My favorite engine. It's really great. Yeah, I've pretty much only ever worked with it professionally. Oh, he seems pretty good, and he's got a shield. Oh wait, never mind. You're destroying him. Oh my gosh, that was so one-sided.
I know. It's probably a bot again.
No, it's a real guy.
Oh really?
Yeah, like it's this was we made this map about 5 years ago at this point. This is like right in the middle of the pandemic map. So no nanite, no fancy Unreal Engine 5 stuff. Is very traditional workflows with like LODs and light maps and trying to get it very optimized. But once you like have that workflow and understand it, it's a lot smoother. So we kind of had a good handle on what we could or couldn't do. Just crushing the competition.
I know, yeah. I should play bots more often or whatever these people are. The yeah, I just love this like all of the bodies actually, this is a good opportunity for me to ask about the bodies.
Oh yes.
Is there like a cap on how many can be in a map?
There is. A lot of them aren't from people. There's like a body spawning system over time. So there are like the bodies from players that get ragdolled. I think those despawn, but over time there's like these instant static mesh bodies that will start appearing when you're like not looking. So it kind of like so they're all pretty much like fake and not from the game, that like not one to one with what's occurred during the fight, but you don't really realize it. You just turn around and then you see like a million bodies.
Oh my god, I didn't realize. And you like build them up
Yeah.
in areas like those choke points, and you know that's where people are dying anyway, right? And here,
Yeah, there was like a whole system for controlling them and like blood and stuff. It was really cool. That was one of the cooler things too.
rip. Let's see if my body reappears in the same place. And I noticed that the bodies like they appear in like wagons and like off to the sides as well, as if it was like, you know,
Oh
where
yeah,
this
those are
like they're
like
piled up for
pre-made. Yeah,
burning.
I think that's like a baked down big pile of bodies, very deliberately placed. The kind of loose ones
Like
here
this one
are all
here as well,
dynamic
right?
though.
Yeah, these ones in the middle. I think one,
Yeah.
but like I can fully believe that maybe mine's already despawned, but like I could fully believe that one of these was mine because I died just here.
Right. Yes, exactly.
That's really really cool. And you were saying about how like you did a lot of playtests, so like you must have playtested these maps of the people at Torn Banner like a lot.
Oh yeah, we would play like 90 minutes once or twice a week typically. Not every week, but like most weeks we would play the whatever map was in production. So I probably played like 100 hours of this map over the course of developing it. Um, yeah, we tested a ton because it's a 64 player online game, and the studio at the time was pretty small. It was like, I don't know, like 30 or 40 or 50 people. So you couldn't even get like a full lobby most of the time. And we would just play. Eventually, they had like more play testers and like a big community for it. But for a lot of the times, it was just like all developers in the match and maybe some bots, and we would just play test it a lot. I think it really pays off too. I think it's like one of the smarter things we did was play test it so much, because you just get to like refine it. You get immediate feedback for it. We'd have like a big feedback channel, and where we'd post all like the bugs we find and like just like design feedback too, like if this objective sucked or if like this choke point wasn't working.
Did you ever have it where you know you'd just be playing and then you'd fall through the map and then be like, all right, I'm fixing that, and you just like
Yeah,
immediately
yeah.
go.
Like yeah, like playing on in like whatever, like Steam or Epic Game Store or whatever, and then you just like tab over to the editor and fix it mid play test, and then like okay, we'll try again on like Thursday and see if it's better.
Oh yeah, I see. I guess like as maps were coming in, like there was some that were like needed more. You wouldn't test on the maps that were like nearly done, right? You would always test on the ones that required iteration and feedback. So I guess you were always
Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly like stuff that's like in mid production, so like not finished, but like it's not too super early either, because it can change a lot when it's really early. Um, but yeah, yeah, a lot of play testing, a lot of like trying to smooth it out.
I guess as well, like with it being your most of your playtime, I don't want to like guess a percentage, but I assume it's like in the 90% percentile of your time playing this game has been in development, right? So you know, you seeing
Yeah.
people play the game like me now, it must feel like weird to see the map like done when you've seen so many different versions of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And like I don't know how many hours it is, probably like at least 500 hours of playtesting, because you know a couple of hours a week for years, and that's just in like during developer hours too. I would like play it after work too, because I thought it was a lot of fun. Um, yeah, I've seen it so many times and like all the little changes and stuff and all the things that were added. It's kind of crazy to see it that way and like play it that much. I think the only thing you'd ever get that much, it would be like a online survival game or like an MMO or something, where you'd get that ton of hours just to
Yeah.
test it. It's actually pretty similar. Like it didn't change. The original layout is generally pretty similar. We tried to like really respect level design's intent as much as possible. Hopefully they wouldn't laugh if I say that. But I think we did. Like it didn't really change a ton. We just kind of took what the general layout of the village that they gave us and then just kind of went with it.
Oh, I know that Megascan. I know that Megascan asset.
That tree, right? Yeah.
No, no, the cliff face. Hang on, I'm gonna go find it.
Oh, okay. Yep. I was not lying. It's all mega scams.
Let's have a little look at what you did on this level then. As you said, it's quite an empty level, but
Yeah, I think it was like the first one that really got going as like a real level. And the basic idea is literally it's just kind of like a blank canvas to fight in. For a while there wasn't even that tree with the guy hanging on it in the middle. It was just like literally
oh
an
yeah,
empty field.
I didn't
And
even
it was
notice.
kind of like a yeah, the guy up there. Can you throw something at him? He might fall down. Yeah, so that was a cool thing we put in. Same as the crowd. It's basically like a rigid body animation that plays when the guy hits the ground, but it's all like pre-baked. Yeah, for a while there wasn't even that tree. It was literally just an empty field supposed to be like Braveheart with the two teams that charge each other. And
Yeah,
so in order to do that, you just need like a blank piece of land, and so that's what the map was. And it still kind of is. I mean, it's a pretty like sparse map.
I guess did the tree just get added to add a little something, a little?
Yeah, I needed like anything at all. You know what I mean? It was like we can't just literally ship a field. It has to like have any sort of way to tell direction as well.
That's it. Yeah, you need to know where the center of the battlefield is, and you can always just look for that
Yeah.
quite iconic tree. It's the only tree in the scene without leaves as well, right? So
Yes. Yeah. Everything else is kind of in the background. It's just like right in the middle.
and like if you're trying to find your friends, you can always like meet up at the tree, right? So it makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
1v1 at the tree.
Yeah, 1v1 me at the tree, boys. Look at that. Easy mode. I like this. There's even more of those dynamic assets here. I love because it's so easy to get your sword broke in this game if you're like doing like a really long fight. There's always like you
Oh
can
yeah.
always scavenge around and find something.
Yeah, and you can like throwing stuff is a big thing. So even if you like have a weapon, oftentimes you want to throw it and get like a free hit, and there's just like always other stuff to pick up. That was like 6 in a row.
I know, yeah, it's just getting even for bots, this is getting a bit crazy. Alright. I love the gore physics as well, like I can like fully chop this guy's head off.
Oh yeah, their arms.
Or
Oh,
not.
he just like
Even disappear.
vaporized through the
He'll
landscape.
do. There you go. There goes his arm.
Yeah.
There
I
you
think
go.
legs. Yeah. You can't pick those up, but we later added ones that were like standalone ones that you could pick up and throw,
Or you could like throw
and like
limbs.
heads. Yeah, I think you can like pick up heads too. I don't remember the context. And you can also like lose your limbs, and then you can only headbutt.
Oh yeah,
A lot of
yeah.
little gags like that. Yeah.
You must have had so much fun, like, in getting the once they were like implemented by the design team. Just like one day you were in a playtest and suddenly that text online's like, "Chop off my arms! I want to try it."
Yeah, and like getting your first like headbutt kill with no arms. Like that feels good.
I don't know the feeling. One day maybe.
These are cool. Oh, yeah, that one's your team, so you can't destroy it. But the mason ones you can destroy. Those mantlets, those like kind of shields on wheels.
Yeah, they're
And
cool.
same as like the other destruction. It's like a pre-baked thing. So you like beat it up, and then eventually it gets destroyed, and then it kind of crumbles. But it's all that. It's not like a real animation. We use that in a lot of places because it's like super cheap at runtime. And it works out really well. And you don't need like an animator. You can just like simulate it in Houdini, and then it breaks, and then you just like import that.
I like the fact that the collision mesh doesn't have it in the middle, right? You know, so you can like
Oh
still
yes,
like stab
yeah,
attack through it, right?
yeah. And there's like archers too, so it's
You can like
designed
shoot through it.
for shooting an arrow through.
Oh, of course, yeah. Earlier I like threw. I think I'll probably throw this thing through there if I want to. Yeah, it bounced off that pole, but it went through. All right, let's have a look around Gallencourt.
Okay, very like much more lush and opulent map. It's the Agathian, like a stronghold of theirs. So it's like white, nice stone and like hedges and ivy and stuff like that. There's this giant gazebo thing, the stone rotunda or whatever it's called in the middle, and that can fall down and get destroyed
Oh,
if they
that's
get the
cool.
objective complete, or if you destroy the pillars around it.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to concentrate a bit more on this one. Unlike the last
No
game,
worries.
everyone, this is not bots this time. So I
It was
am
a tough one.
fighting for my
Fighting for your
life.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna find out on this one, I think. We got. It says defend the relics. I ain't defending anything. The boys will defend them. I'll just watch. Maybe we can stay up here a little bit.
A chill in the back.
Yeah, let's have a look around here. This is such a beautiful structure, this.
Yes, another Paul Carson's masterpiece. He did the big cathedral. I think Pat did a lot of the surrounding town here, if I recall correctly. I forget who else was on this. Matt Odes did some stuff. Bunch of people. The whole team. Tyler did everything. Again, but it was just like 5 or 6 people at this point. So everyone was kind of doing all sorts of different stuff. Defend the church. Paul did the whole outside and interior. The interior is really cool as well. That guy's playing the lute.
Look at how good your community is, man. I just came and sat on a bench.
It's beautiful.
And
You
then
sat and he's serenading you. That guy's got an insane helmet.
Is that? This is quite quaint, actually.
Yeah.
Oh
beautiful.
my god.
Oh, it was a nice moment.
I'm still alive. I'm no longer alive. That is one thing I wanted to ask you about, actually, is the community for this game, because this game came out like around 3 years ago now, and I just sat on a bench and then someone joined me playing a harp, and you can look at them all fighting it out like it's day one release still. You know what I mean? They've been scrapping
so
for
much
years.
Passion.
Yeah, look at the energy going into this.
Yeah, still a fun game. If you make a really fun game, it turns out people really like that and they have a lot of fun. I'm glad that there's still it's still like a pretty healthy community.
Yeah.
And people still enjoying it, which is super, super nice to see. Super rewarding to see.
Oh,
yeah,
shit,
it's just cool. And also those little weird interactions, right? Like you'll sit on a bench and someone will play you a song and stuff, and just like weird things like that happen all the time in the game.
Yeah, I love there's like a lot of etiquette as well. Like you have to bow like this when you're like about to enter like a 1v1 and stuff like that.
Yeah. You can like spin your sword around as like an emote, and that like lets people know
you're
ready to duel
mouse?
and stuff. Yeah, that's like, okay, I'm ready.
I don't know, if I do it with a knife, it looks a bit better. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty badass.
Oh. He did not wait for me to announce my preparedness.
There's no rules in war.
Will I drown in this? No, this is too shallow.
No, I think it's pretty good.
But you can see that we were talking earlier on the other map about the identities of the two factions, and like this is quite clearly I forgot the name of the blue team, right? The Agatha.
Yeah. Agatha. I guess like Agathian Knights is the
Agathian, yeah.
full name, but yeah, like they have this little like Renaissance fair area set up with like the tents and stuff. There's like a theater cart down there as well, if I remember. It's like way down there. But yeah, like the whole surroundings are like super different. It's like well maintained, generally speaking. They have like paths and stuff that you wouldn't get in like a rustic, like kind of crappy medieval village. So the whole idea is that it's like they're like a much more important place to them that they've defended and maintained.
I'm not trying to desert. I'm just trying to have a quick look at.
No, you're deserting for sure. Yeah, there it is. This little theater cart. I think there's like puppets you could pick up. All their like relics and stuff. They have like statues around. Yeah, all sorts of stuff to try to make it feel like an important place to them. You won. Yet again.
Here we go. We're in Dark Forest.
Here we go. Yeah. So the whole theme of this map. It's actually a map. Like the idea of it is from the first Chivalry. So it's not like a recreation of that map, but it's like in the same area geographically, the Dark Forest. And you're basically trying to escort this caravan along the entire length of the map. through various barricades and like across bridges, and you got to lower gates and stuff to try and get this caravan to the castle so that you can like storm the castle. It's a pretty big map. Start to finish is probably like 40 minutes or something like that. It takes quite a while. More of a Houdini VAT stuff, more rigid body animations as those break.
So you said you used Houdini a lot for stuff. What was the use cases for Houdini?
It's basically all like VFX type of stuff. So like things breaking. I think there was like some explosion-y type stuff, but large. It wasn't really used in like a procedural environment sense or like an asset generation sense. It was basically we didn't have like a VFX artist or a tech artist really for a very long time. So anything that we wanted in the game, we just kind of had to do if we wanted it, and we wanted stuff to break, and we wanted like these hanging corpses to fall down and have like ragdoll. So a lot of that was done through Houdini, or at least like ported through Houdini, because it has like really good VAT compatibility with Unreal.
What's VAT compatibility mean?
So VAT is like vertex animation textures. So
Oh, yeah,
basically
okay.
takes animation and converts it to a texture, and then you can play that back in via the shader on a static mesh via world position offset, which is a super kind of convoluted way of saying that it gives you really cheap animation in terms of performance.
That's a
And so
good
we use
thing.
that everywhere, like the barricades that you broke back there, and then I think like anything that falls down and breaks is using that.
I don't know, I see it. I see more like I guess more
More
use
mega
of
scans,
mega scans on
those
here.
same
Yeah.
rocks coming through. I think all the trees and foliage was made by Tyler. He was like the de facto foliage artist, and probably the grass too. So he did a lot of stuff. I think that was all like speed tree, if I remembering correctly. But pretty much all the landscape stuff is mega scans though, or like 90%. All the structural stuff would be things that we made, but a lot of the landscape stuff is mega scans for sure.
Would the undulations in the terrain, like the minor ones, would they be put in by the level designers? These like kind of small divots and
No,
things
that'd
like
be
that.
all. That's like all art. Level design would just be like the basic kind of like shapes. So
The big
like the big
forms,
wall
yeah.
and big forms and like the road, the big wall, any like big sort of. They might have placed some of the initial rock positions actually. I shouldn't say it was like 100% us. It's really like a mix when you
The
get a team
team
that
effort.
small too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but all the little details and stuff is would be art for sure. But they handled like the whole flow of like how the map plays and like the theme of it, which is really like a really important thing too.
Did you do much research into like battles that actually happened to see like what siege equipment they would have used and
Yeah, yeah. A lot of like just general medieval referencing of stuff, and this was also a lot of the team that made this made the first one, so this was like their second of this very similar like medieval sword fighting game. So they've had a lot of experience like making castles and like what goes into that and how to make it like somewhat historically accurate. It's definitely like not perfect by any stretch, and that wasn't the goal either. But it is largely inspired by like various locales. Like some of them are like very distinctly like a Romanian castle. I don't know what this one would be, for example. It might just be something that's more generic or that we kind of like put together. But a lot of them are referencing like very specific castles. Like there's a map that references like Neuschwanstein or whatever it is, that like big, beautiful German castle. Um, there was a lot of like trying to figure out what is at least possible and like how it would be remotely constructed in a believable way. So, for example, these have are like a lot of these big curtain walls, these big like outer large exterior walls that wrap around a large area. They have like sally doors on them, which is kind of like a one-way exit so that you can defend it really easily, but you can't enter it at all. um, a very medieval construct so that you can like repel invaders. So and then it works its way into level design too, where there's like one-way entrances through a map. But also, if you beat up that outhouse over there, it will crumble. So it's not all serious business.
which outhouse?
There's like an outhouse on the top of the wall, on the left side. Yeah, right about over there ish.
All right, I'm gonna make a beeline for it.
You can actually go and sit inside of the outhouse, and then it will crumble around you if someone breaks it, which is also a very good gag.
Okay, I'm going. Is it this one here?
Yeah, that's the guy.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go.
If I'm not mistaken, I swear. Yes. Okay. Very good. And there you go. Right. You can. I think you can close the door too. Yeah, for privacy.
I'm deserting apparently.
You're doing something.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. I'm done. Don't worry, I'm not deserting anymore, guys. Let me try and like destroy it.
I think just like the seat is
Oh,
left.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this animation was this is like Houdini, you said.
Yes. Yeah. It's just like a rigid body animation. So basically, we bring in all the parts separately, and then you just like simulate them as rigid bodies, and they kind of just like fall according to physics. But it's all pre-animated, like those two crumbled in the exact same way with the same
Yeah, that's
animation,
why it does.
and it's
That's why it's such
floating,
flat.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's not colliding with the level at all. It's just like doing its own thing.
Because this is like a generic asset that can be reused everywhere, and it's been simulated onto like a flat plane, not into this exact environment.
It's actually it was done after the level was done, so it was kind of brought in after the fact, which is why it's floating there. Like so the level was finished, and then we like added that. If we had it beforehand, we probably would have tried to make that area flat so that it wouldn't float like that.
Yeah, or I suppose in other examples you would like pull in like or like recreate like the metric a little bit just so it dropped a little bit more realistically. And I guess in some of the more bespoke stuff, like I guess that gazebo that we were looking at in the previous map.
There are a lot of. I think there's a graveyard in this map, maybe just up ahead, which has our names on it, but I can't remember.
How's your names?
Yeah, like developer names. I think it's like off to the right here. I could be wrong.
Don't do it. I'm so close. I'm gonna join you guys.
Read the graves. Captain Wellham, Ryan Wellham, QA extraordinaire. Who else do we got? Oh no. Tiberius Bain, that's Steve. Steve's the CEO and like founder and lead game designer a lot of times.
Okay, he's distracted for now. Right? Let's have a look at these gravestones.
Some of it might be out of bounds. Mark Page, QA, wonderful person. I think he's a producer now.
Died from a book to the head.
Died a book to the head. Yeah, there's also like little things. Kevin J is a programmer.
No one will miss this Archer.
Ryan again.
Went down with the ship.
Patching holes till the end, right? Very QA, very on brand. Steve again. Even the unkillable must one day come to rest. Very like serious epitaph. That's nobody there. Tom Banner is kind of a running joke. It's just the word torn banner. If you look closely, and the R and the N blend together. Yeah. So it's just like a fake human, not a real guy. Niels, character artist, Niels the Smithy. Character art might have made the very armor you're wearing right now. I do not know, but probably.
That's so cool. I wonder if there's any more like out of bounds a little bit. Oh yeah, there's loads over here. Look.
Okay, yeah, there's quite a few. I don't know why we put it out of bounds. James and James, yeah. Okay, so one of these is me, and there was another James Lullum, who's a producer, a wonderful guy too. So we have a conjoined headstone.
Oh, that's so cute. What did it say? The shared name, so they share a grave.
Share graves, yeah, beautiful. Lord Hader, Alex Hader, who's like the marketing director. He's awesome. Wow, also large, it left a crater, rhyming with his name. And there's one on the back. Who do we got here? The Freeman. I think for Freeman Kim. Also a programmer. I can't quite read it.
Hang on, I need to just retick the...
That's fair.
Okay, let's go back. Let's quickly read it. Oh wait, it's going to say... A wayworn that have earned the taste of my flesh.
You have not earned the taste of flesh, which is fair. So, and then you commit seppuku if you're out of bounds too long.
That's quite fitting. I guess being a lead, you worked on like every map, but like you worked on it in a... Not like you weren't... This is you own this map and you do everything on it, right? It's you're helping people here, you're doing a bit there, you're being more of a like jack of all trades, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of like coordination and stuff. Being a small team, there was still some like actual art, but like very little at this point in time. So like for this map, I was lead. This was like one of the post-launch maps. So I think all of the art here was just like,
Your
by the
team.
art team, and I was just like kind of trying to clear the path for them. But this was launched actually after I left by a little bit, but I was around for like, 90% of the production, I think.
And you must love your
Um,
team. Like you must really miss
yeah,
them.
yeah, they were all. It was like such a good team, like just a incredibly well skilled and kind team as well. Like, I've really had like a really good game dev experience in general with teams and like working with really nice people. But the Torn Banner like art team was, and to that note, like super incredible as well.
So this is like a different faction that we're seeing here, right? Is this
Yeah, this is the Tenosians. So they're kind of like Persians, I guess you could say.
okay?
And they live in more of like a desert climate, but with like some lush areas as well. And this is the Masons are invading their territory. So there's like a third faction, but they were kind of like a DLC faction, so to speak, and they kind of got introduced after launch and all their maps and all their armor and stuff. But you can see like palm trees, like it's in the middle of the desert. There was like a giant lighthouse at the start of the map that you have to kind of destroy, and that's
Yeah,
supposed
yeah.
to be like the lighthouse of Alexandria or whatever. That's what it's alluding to, or like the library of Alexandria. I forget. But the basic premise of the map is you're trying to destroy this giant library at the end of it, which is what you're looking at now.
And the so forgive me for not knowing. I know you keep mentioning them, but I've already
No
forgotten the
worries.
names. The red team, right? So
Yes.
they're in the lore. They're fighting a war on two fronts, right? They're not just fighting the. Or does
Yeah,
the
so at the end of the first one, they like won, or like in between one and two, Chivalry 1 and Chivalry 2, they like won. And then the main plot, so to speak, of Chivalry 2 is that the blue team is like their comeback tour. Um, but to keep it going after, like for like the content updates that we wanted to do, we introduced like this third faction, and then they are kind of like getting invaded and then do some invading of their own.
they're like expanding whilst defending kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. But so there's like a loose background lore to it all, but it's not like the main focus of the game. The main focus of the game is like throwing, like a ham at somebody's face.
Look at these little like bazaars, like with the like different grains and
All the spices and
yeah,
stuff. The team
spices.
is a bit bigger at this point too. Like we're up to like 7 or 8 environment artists, but we were also making twice as many maps. So it was still like 3 or 4 people per map in terms of art. Um, and they got a lot done. Oh yeah, a book. Hooray.
Let's throw a book at them
Yeah.
as a final hurrah before the. No.
Aw. This is a good one too. I was lead for this. This one's very much like invading the Scottish Highlands. So it's pretty cool too.
Oh my, sick. Well,
Yeah.
I love the Scottish Highlands.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to my British people watching.
British artist Justin Miles was a part of the Torn Banner crew, I believe, around this time. I think this was his first map.
Nice.
Great artist, did a great job. We got
Oh my god,
pigs. You can
pigs.
carry the pigs. Yeah.
We can carry the pigs.
I'm pretty sure you can carry the pigs. I think we also introduced carrying players and bodies in this one. I could be wrong. Or you have to like kidnap people. There's something kidnappy in this one for sure.
Cheeky kidnap. Let's give it a go. Oh, right. We're actually arriving on boat. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Look at this.
The basic premise is there's like a cult at the top of the mountain, and the Masons kind of worship them, and you're coming to kill the cult. Oh no, you're defending. Okay, so you're defending your cult.
Oh, I see. Well, while they raid, I'm going to have a quick look around the village and see what's going on before chaos descends. There's some crops here.
On crops, I think those fences are breakable. A lot of like pigs and stuff. Smash. You can't pick them up, but the other people will try to pick up the pigs, and they like basically score points if they kidnap the peasants or kidnap the pigs. Oh, you can take an egg. I think you can definitely throw chickens if you can find them. You can see the egg is like kind of clipping to the hand. So there's only a couple of poses for the hands, and we have
yeah.
to make every object fit into those, and it doesn't always work. So like, and the metrics were not like super tight. We kind of just like had fun with it. So a lot of the times you'll see like stuff clip into the hands because there's only like a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah, I noticed that with the egg. There was like it was like clipping for a little bit. This is really cool. I love that it's like a different vibe again to like the previous maps we've seen.
Yeah, a lot of like different locations and stuff. This one had a lot of iteration, a lot of like look dev in the beginning to try and figure out like how we wanted the houses to look and like all the thatched roof and the grass on the roof and stuff. It's kind of gets like hobbity. There's like some very like built into the earth houses, and as the map progresses.
Is this? Would you say this is like the main area, or is like should we try and push it further into the deeper parts of the map?
Yeah, I mean, if you can, every area for every map is like a little bit different. This one has like this main village, and then you have to protect that fort, and then you have to like push over these giant like stone monuments, and then you like reach the top of the hill. So there's like 4 or 5 distinct objectives and like
Zones.
zones. So there's like a lot to see, but it's it's hard to get the multiplayer community to do the objective for you.
I'm being shot at by my own teammate.
By
He
your own
doesn't
guy.
understand that I'm.
We're taking it all in, buddy.
Yeah, bro. Like, I don't think you know who we are, but that's fine. You carry on.
The shoreline's really cool if it's still there. It was basically done with a large decal. So the whole like waves on the shore is faked with that. And the water is transparent, which for our game was very costly, but we did it
As a treat.
as a treat for the discerning eye.
I'm gonna
Oh yeah,
take a
fish. Matt Odes was an artist who joined, and he just did a lot of fish for us. Yeah, it's that whole like wave thing. So like the water hits the shoreline, and then there's like waves that come up onto the shore, and it's basically like a long decal on a sign, which is like a really strange way to do it. But we did it, and it was cool. If you can get close to him, you'll definitely kill him. Tremendous.
Right, let's have a look at this decal.
That guy, the like white water.
Hopefully they don't see me.
Tough game to like take it in too, you know? It's very, you're like on your toes the whole time.
Yeah, I see the decal now.
That thing. Yeah, you can see like clips even in because it has to be like perfectly flush with the terrain. But that was a cool little thing. Probably not worth the time spent to put it in. Seagulls, also cool.
I missed. I'm sure they'd be able to die though. I had the skill to hit it. I want a fish. I want another fish.
There's a lot of fish. There's like, I don't know, like 10 different kinds of fish probably.
Why is there 10 different kinds of fish? What was the reason for that? You just
we just let them go wild and make a bunch of fish, you know?
Good for him, man.
Just for throwing, yeah, just for funs. I think these were all done by Paul, like the whole village probably, if I remember correctly. He was really good at like houses and structural stuff. I think there's like squids, but I could be, or like a puffer fish. There's definitely like several kinds of fish.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Look at this fish.
Yeah, big fish market. Yeah, look at that
this
guy.
fish.
Oh, he's two-handed. Like a carp.
No. Quick, get another fish. Skull, this'll do.
There's like a skull. Nice. Oh, he's already dead. Defending the tower, big tower. It blows up, actually. Very Michael Bay-esque if you fail, which is fun. So you should try to fail.
I will try my best.
I think you can go inside of it, and I think there's like a roof that you can go up onto and shoot from if you have a bow and arrow, or just throw stuff. There's like a ladder. Yeah.
Bees.
Oh, beehives. Yeah, we put beehives. You can throw it, and then bees come out and they attack people. Wonderful.
Gonna keep throwing bees down. I think I got him.
Yep.
I love the interact. What gave you the ideas for each? I killed someone with bees. That's so good.
Hell yeah. Bees are deadly.
What gave you the ideas for like the different throwables? Do you like sit down and like go, right, we're gonna have this, and this, or do you just like Oh, we need a prop. Can we make it throwable? Probably.
Yeah, part of it was definitely like, let's try to make as much throwable as we can. And then, because this was like a post-launch map, it was more like, what's the theme of it? And this one was like this weird cult religion thing on the hill, and also it's like supposed to be set in like a sort of Scottish Highland type of area. Um, so there's like a big bee farm, honey generation thing going on, and I think that's where the bees came from. It was just like, oh, if they have bees in like beehives, then we should be able to just throw bees at people naturally. Um, and also, we were always searching for more area of effect attacks. Like you have an oil pot that you can throw, and it sets people on fire. But there's not a lot of,
Oh
oh, hey, it
shit!
blew up. Oh my gosh. There's not a lot of like grenade type of things that you can do in medieval times, right? It's just basically just like a pot of oil, and that's it. And so the bees were kind of like another area of attack, or area of effect attack that we could get in.
Nice. Yeah, you're being quite creative with the limited technology, I guess, for the time period.
Yeah, you can't have like guns, nothing cool like that. Swords are pretty cool. We protect the hamlet. We tried to make the objectives different each time. Protect the hamlet is a bit phoned in, I admit, but it's okay because you were just protecting a village. So typically it was like, okay, if you're protecting the village, the next time you should be like blowing up the tower, and the next time it should be like, defend the bridge. It should be different each time, um, with the varying success. Still cool. It's a cool little area.
So, as we look upon the battlefield below, as blood is shed on the Highlands of Scotland here in Chivalry II, we have just enough time for one more question for James. And that question, James, is if you have any advice for people watching, maybe gamers, maybe people who aspire to work in the games industry, or maybe existing developers, what have you learned? Like, what advice do you have having worked on? You've worked in the games industry for like, was it like 10 years or something? Like, you must have
Something like that. Yeah.
a lot of advice, right? Would you mind sharing some with us?
Yeah, a lot of different advice for different things. You just got to start making stuff, though, folks. That's I think the primary thing is like, um, it's very difficult to get experience and start discovering what you need to improve unless you just start making things, even if they're not perfect. This is like a really good example of that. Like this game, like we made this game, most of it with like 30 to 40 people, and it turned out to be a ton of fun. And like all of these environments were made with like 3 people at a time, basically. Um, and we just really just like dove in as a small company. They just kind of went for it and gained experience along the way. And they like some things didn't work out, and some things worked out incredibly well. Um, I think with students, a lot of the times they trying to like find like the perfect time to start working, or the perfect time to practice whatever skill or stuff like that. And I would say just try to make it a routine, and try to just like deliberately practice as much as possible, and like make time for it rather than trying to like wait for this perfect time, because it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time to get good enough to make art for games professionally, or any discipline in games. And the only way to do that is to start as early as you can and work for a few years, toiling away, and then eventually you get to a point where you're employable. So yeah, just like, I don't know, just start, just make something cool right now. Close YouTube, like and subscribe, and then close YouTube.
Yeah, I think following your passion's like really important, right? And like
Yes.
if you're not doing something that interests you, I see a lot of students and they'll be like, what should I make? And it's like, make what you care about, because that's when you're gonna get the best work, right? If you like medieval games like Chivalry, maybe that's why you're watching this video. Like, go make a medieval sword. If you don't like medieval games and you like supercars, go make a
Yeah.
supercar.
Make
Like,
a supercar. Make
go
10 of them.
exactly. Make what if when you because these things aren't going to happen overnight, right? It's not like you sit down, spend 20 minutes and you've got it. It requires a lot of dedication. So if you can pick something that is going to make you want to come back to it, then that's good, because then one, you'll come back to it, and two, each time you do, you're going to learn. Even if you don't finish it, you'll gain the skills from participating in just picking it up and going.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of value in exploring the same subject matter over and over. Like, you don't have to do something new every time. You can just make a medieval environment and then make another one and it'll probably be better. And then your third one will be better again. And you can learn a lot that way too. Like, you don't have to feel pressure to always be putting out your best work or pressure to be doing something new. You can just like iterate and just spend the time and gain the experience, just like doing whatever you find interesting.
Yeah, perfect. Couldn't have said it better myself. James, what an awesome game you and your team made here, and I've had so much fun playing it, and I'm going to continue having fun playing it many more hours. Because yeah, even though I'm terrible at it, as everyone's probably noticed, we're going to go out here and see. This is going to be a good place to end the video, I think.
You went out
Thank you.
swinging. Thank you for the kind words. It means a lot. It's a lot of fun to make. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad people are still playing it and having fun and throwing chickens at each other. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Awesome. See you later, guys.